Hi guys, I am working today on making myself some page dividers for my church notebook. And I made a couple different kinds. These are white on white, so you probably won't be able to see them quite as well, but I really wanted those to be white on white because I go through and I highlight things that I want to remember. And so I figured there was going to be a lot going on these pages, and I didn't want to add more to it. But I did go back through and make myself some page dividers, and I decided to make them. These were for my notes from during our general conference session, and I decided to make them side loading, just as I did these guys here, but a little bit bigger so that it covered the whole page. And the reason that I did that, let's see if I can show you, is because I felt like it gave me a really cool spot to stick quote cards or die cuts or stickers or whatever. So that's why I decided to do those guys that way, and because I left blank pages at the fronts of these sections because I knew that I wanted to come back through and decorate them when I was taking notes. So I have to excuse my cold today. I'm in denial that it's a cold. I'm going with it just being allergies. So I'll leave that there and put it back on correctly here in a second. But I wanted to show you how I did those. So finished looks like that. Set that guy over there. I actually cut the toppers out on my silhouette machine, but you could fussy cut a cute piece of paper and add a sticker to the top of it. Like for example, we'll just do one real quick. How about that? Don't think these are the right stickers, but we're just gonna pretend like it is. So you could fussy cut if you have the patience, or you can just use a straight edge. And we'll save this here for just a second. Do that next. Finish this guy first. One thing at a time, Chrissy. It's the bane of my existence. I'm gonna go through and tell you the laminator that I use, because I've had good laminators and I've had bad laminators. And if you are frustrated with lamination, decent laminating pockets and a decent laminator make all the difference in the world, seriously. All right, set this guy aside for just a second. First thing I do is I cut these down to size. I cut off the rounded edges because of course lamination pockets or sheets have these little rounded edges. Before I do that, you'll find the side that's sealed, and the way that these lamination pockets are made is it's made for like a sheet of paper. Wait, is this bigger guy? So just go and sit in there like this, right? And then the heat seals all around that edge of paper. So we're gonna cheat that just a little bit. But as you're doing this, you'll notice that there's a different feeling to the two sides of the lamination pocket or page. There's a very smooth side, and then there's a really, it's softly textured. It's not scratchy at all, but it has, how would I describe this? It almost has like a really short velvet feel to it. So there is a right side, which would be the side that faces out, and there would be a wrong side, which is the inside of this pocket. So when you laminate something, it goes wrong sides together, and that creates the seal. So we're gonna cheat that just a little bit to make our pockets here. First thing we're gonna do, and I love, if you don't have a single page trimmer like this, I have big page trimmers, and I like those if I'm cutting a whole bunch of inserts, but this guy is my absolute workhorse. I've had him for probably 2.5, maybe even 3 years, and I still haven't even changed the blade. It is just an absolute workhorse. It is by We Are Memory Makers, is that what it is? Keepers. And it is their trim and store board, and I love this thing. So I've just trimmed off just the rounded edge there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut these to measurements, which I happen to know for my B6 that I'm using, I like them to be 5 1/4 wide. So I've lined that up Let's see if you can see that. You can't. I've lined that up with the 5 1/4 mark. And that means that it's 5 1/4 inches away from the blade. And what I love about these is these little grooves really help to keep you on track there. So this is the top of the lamination pocket or sheet. Open this guy up here. So you can see it is still connected. I'm gonna set this aside and I'm gonna cut this now by 7 inches. Again, just because I know that that's the size of my B6 inserts, I add about 1/8 of an inch all the way around just for kind of a little bit of a margin. Okay, so this is still wrong sides together. Okay, we're gonna take and we're gonna set that down. We're gonna move on, put this guy right there, move on to peeling off or grabbing whatever you want to use for your topper. It could be a fussy cut piece of paper. It could be something that you've cut out on your Cricut or your Silhouette. It can be stickers. It can be a page topper. It really can be anything. It doesn't need to be vinyl. And then what you're gonna do, and this I like to bring out a different thing. Set this aside for just a second. So what I'm using here is just a sheet of vinyl. It's Oracal 651. That guy there. I love the sheets because they store flat and I can put them in a dresser drawer. And then I'm just using a transfer tape. I don't even know what this guy is, but it's just some generic transfer tape, vinyl transfer tape from Amazon. I like to take out, this is a quilting ruler. And I like to use this just because it helps me to keep everything straight. This guy is so used. It's got all kinds of sticky junk all over it. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your lamination sheets that you've cut and you're going to separate them. Set one aside. And now this guy, this is my right side. This would be what is normally outward facing on your lamination project. And this is my inside, which would typically be up against whatever I'm laminating, and then again, kind of adhere to the back. I'm gonna set this aside for just a second. I have put my vinyl on my transfer tape and I removed it from the backing that it was cut on. Set that guy aside, and then I just take this and I line it up. And there's 2 ways that you can do this. The important thing is that what you want if you are making a pocket. So if you want this to be something that slips over a page or something that you can slip stickers or die cuts or whatever the heck you want into, it's that you are going to be using the inside. So the side that feels more like velvety, that or suede-y, that is the side that you are going to have outward facing. So you are reversing that sheet. So if you have taken your vinyl and you've laid it down, then you're gonna want your velvety side down and you're gonna line those up. Other alternative is that you can take and you can align your vinyl sheet, and there really is no right way to do this. It just depends on however you're more coordinated. And then you can take and just align that guy, stick it down. Whoop. And you can see I did a horrible job. I don't know if you can see that, but I've missed it by probably 1/8 of an inch there. So no worries. Just gonna peel it back off. During this phase of the peel off, I have torn letters before. I have torn cute little scallops. I happen to align better this way, so I'm gonna go suede-y side down. And this is where your stiffer lamination pocket really comes in handy, for your stiffer lamination sheets, because they don't bend as much on you. All right, there we go. So I have it attached now to the lamination pocket, and it is suede-y or velvety side up. So we've reversed that, okay? Peel off my transfer tape. I've also torn letters and cute little things here. So what I found is that you really want to pull it slowly gently. And it does help if you have something that you can kind of stick the letters to for the time being. So you're gonna wanna pull it slowly, gently, and at kind of like a 45-degree angle. So be patient there. It's a marathon, not a sprint. How about that? Okay, you can reuse your transfer tape, which is why mine is kind of dirty. It does attract every single stinking piece of fuzz, a hair that you may have lost from your head. Heaven forbid you have any dog hair anywhere on you. They need to make lint rollers out of this stuff and lamination paper or pockets, because this will attract everything under the sun. So I'll also use the transfer tape to just kind of pick up anything that may be living there on the sheet. You might have better luck with this than I do, but I attract every little piece of fur around, like I said. So, okay, so we've got this guy. Here is the other side of that, which we cut apart. We're gonna go wrong sides out. So what we're doing here is that these two smooth sides will not laminate to each other. They're not going to adhere to each other, so that's what's creating your negative space in there. So you want to go ahead and line those bad boys up, grab what's left of your little lamination pocket, go ahead and open it up, see what sort of fuzz you've collected along the way. Sometimes you have to use a little weight to keep that guy open. That worked well. Make sure that you have these guys reasonably aligned. Open this up, and then go ahead and wedge that in against the side. I can't seem to do this without shuffling these sheets just a little bit, which just makes me want to pull my hair out. So you just want those two sheets that you are using for the pocket part to be aligned. Now we have placed the lamination sheet right side out around our pocket where we're going to have that negative space. So move my little transfer tape there out of the way so that I can pull over here the laminator. This guy is hot and he is a bad boy. This is, let's get it over here in the camera if we can. Especially if we can do it without burning our hands. There we go. This is the True Lam laminator from Amazon. I love it. It accepts all kinds of different thicknesses of your lamination. You can see it's running at 260 degrees. My very favorite part of this is that it's really quick. It gets up to heat very, very quickly. My really favorite thing, I'm not gonna lie, it's the reverse button, and let me show you why. So go ahead and put that guy there. Grab this sheet. So let's say I put this in and I'm feeling pretty good about how I have it aligned, and I look at it and I go, oh no, it's messed up. I can reverse it back out of there and feed it back in so that I can adjust whatever I need to adjust there. And a lot of the problems that you're gonna have with lamination come from inconsistent heat. You want to be sure that you are using the heat setting that's appropriate for the thickness of your laminating pocket. So when I started laminating, I get this from Brump. If you need a little bit of heat, then more heat must just be like the bomb. It must be just way better, right? If a little bit of heat is good, more heat is stinking great. Move this guy out of the way. Bring my cutting board back out, and what excess heat will do is it'll create ripples and bubbles in your lamination. So let's try to square you back up again. Here is where these scoring lines on this board come in really handy, because there is no way, let's be honest, there's no way that I got this pocket in straight. No stinking way. So I can take and I can use the laminated edge. I put it on the 1/8 line, which is right here. This shows you where your blade is going to go. This is the 1/8 line. Laminator squeaking. And that's going to give me that is going to give me enough of a margin there so that I'm not cutting into that pocket or that negative space that we created. Discard that, and then I'm just going to do that all the way around. I still got a piece of fuzz in there. Which is why I could never make these to sell for anybody. I have too many dogs and children and dirt road and all that good stuff going on. So I'm cutting the margin on the top here, and what I'm doing, I can see where my letters start. So I don't want to cut into that, and I'll have to fussy cut that end. Looks good. Then what I want to do, this is going to be my inside edge. I want things to load this way. So this is the side where I'm going to cut into and open up that pocket, because you can see at this point it's all solid, right? So this is the point where I'm going to open up that pocket. So now I've cut into that negative space or that pocket that I created. And you can see there, we can open it up. We can slide all sorts of goodies in it, or we can use that to put over top of our page. Grab a pair of really sharp scissors, and I'm going to finish cutting in around my little tab area here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this top tab part down just a little bit. All right, so there we go. So what I would do from this point, pull this guy off, is open up to the spot in my notebook. You could even use this as a page marker if you wanted, and you could have stickers or sticky notes or whatever the heck you want to store in there inside there. For me, I need a blank page for the front of this section. Grab this guy. I end up trimming these down just a tad so that it's just a little bit easier to slide the pockets on and off. So I trimmed off not even 1/8 of an inch, I don't think. Could be 1/8 of an inch, but okay. Pull that guy out for the time being, and then you just want to go ahead and slide it over top of your page. You want a snug fit so that every time you open your notebook up, it doesn't come flying out. At least I do. Maybe you don't, but I do. And I like it to have a little bit of an edge so that it's easier for me to find my sections in my notebook. But if you don't want, that's probably like 3/8 of an inch of an edge, which I like. If you don't want it that big, you would just subtract that from the measurements of the laminate pocket that you're cutting, and then just slide that underneath my strings. And it is done, and there it sits. So just to show you, if you don't have, set these guys aside, if you don't have a silhouette or a Cricut, what I would do is I just cut a piece of cardstock, and you could fussy cut it if you wanted. For example, if I had wanted to, I could have cut around, let's just do have cut around one of the flowers or two of the flowers or whatever the heck. So I could have cut, I would do a better job than this if, if I wanted this to be something that was going to actually live in my notebook. I have a kitty that's insisting on sitting on my lap right now, so if she comes into the video here, I tried, folks. So you could fussy cut like that if you wanted to. I kind of like the clean edge of this. So just gonna go ahead and find my closed edge. You have to get off the table, come here. Say hi, and off you go. Open this guy up, and since I am not doing this to size for anything, I didn't actually measure what size this is. It is, let's go ahead and cut it off at an even 4 so that I can keep track of what I'm doing. Maybe about 4 inches. Okay, so I'm gonna wanna cut a little rounded edge off of here. And discard that, except for that's really not straight. Chrissy, you gotta do a better job than that. Okay. Flip it over so that I'm not cutting into the closed edge. Gonna go ahead and cut that off at 4 inches. And then we'll just make something up. We'll say we want this to be 7. How about that? All right. Set these guys aside. This is our closed pocket that we're going to use, our closed lamination sheet that we're going to use here in a second. So if I were doing this with stickers and with a piece of cardstock, I would open this up. This is what's going to create our interior pocket, right? I would stick that on there. So again, I have the velvety side facing out because we want it to adhere to the lamination sheet and not to the back side of our pocket. Back side is going to be fuzzy side down, and then from this point you can just grab a sticker that you happen to like, and I would stick that on my finger until I was ready to put it into the pocket or the lamination sheet. See what happens when you're on my lap? I get kitty fur absolutely all over these things. They really do need to make lint rollers out of this. This is so staticky, it attracts stuff like nobody's business. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off for now because it's not as precise as that vinyl was gonna have to be. Oh, kitty cat, this is why I can't have you on my lap while I'm doing this. This is gonna have kitty fur. If you don't want kitty fur, then you need to throw the kitty out before you begin your project. It's frustrating. Okay, so I have those 2 pocket sheets aligned. I'm gonna go ahead and put my piece of cardstock on, and then I would just go ahead and put a sticker there. You could put another piece of cardstock, you could put cut out letters, you could use letter stickers if you don't have a silhouette machine, whatever you need. Go ahead and close that up, and then I think this is off camera, but we're just gonna send it through the laminator. And this definitely picked up some kitty fur, so hey, put the kitty outside first and lint roller yourself. It is just plain wild how much junk these lamination sheets attract. Alright, so there it is. And then what I would do from that point is just go ahead and trim again. Line it up with kind of that 1/8 of an inch edger. obviously I don't want to cut through the sticker portion here. So I'm going to push down up to that point, then I'm going to lift it up and finish the other side, and then I will fussy cut around there. I'm going to go ahead and cut open the left side, which is going to open up that pocket so that we can put things in it, or we can slide it over a page, or whatever we want to do. You could absolutely make your opening on the outside if you wanted to do this like, pull this guy out, if you wanted to do this as kind of like a dashboard, you could absolutely open up the outer edge. It's wherever you decide to cut into the pocket. If you want to make a reloadable or reusable dashboard, you would probably want to make it top loading. So wherever you cut into where those two interior pockets meet is where your opening is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that I cut off the left side there, which would mean that things could slide in from the left and you've made yourself a little pouch, or you can slide it over top of a page, whatever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this little clothing tab. You could maybe use this to hold receipts in your planner. I have a million kids, so most of my receipts seem to be for either food or shoes or clothes or sporting goods, right? And then you could, if you wanted to, just go ahead and fussy cut around the exterior there of whatever little sticker or die cut or whatever you used. And it is done. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's cute, I like it. So that is how to make some laminated pockets or dividers or page protectors or whatever you want them to be. Those are cool. Thanks for hanging out with me.